About a month ago, my mum says to me, Ingrid, I have a mission, and that mission is to save my job. A week later, she catches a cold. So she's coughing, she's sneezing, she can barely stand up. And then I see her crawling out the front door, so I say to her, Mum, what are you doing? You have to go back to bed. You are sick. And she says, No, I have to save my job. This is my mission. I have to save my job in this recession. I should have voted for Howard. You can never trust the Labour government with the economy. It's easy to blame the government for our problems. We're in a recession. Blame it on the government. Teachers aren't getting paid enough. Blame it on the government. You ride your bike into a tree and you get a concussion because you weren't wearing a helmet. Blame it on the government. And the beauty of blaming the government is that if you get enough people to blame the government will eventually respond. As it did in May 2008 when Brumby increased teachers' pay by up to $10,000. July 1990, it became a law to wear bicycle helmets. In fact, as a democracy, we are encouraged to blame the government. However, I fear that our society has become so addicted to blaming the government that we have forgotten how to solve problems for ourselves. We have to realize that the government is not capable of solving all our problems. In fact, some problems are going to be neglected by the government altogether, and they don't stand a chance at being solved if we continue to pass on the buck, if you will. I am talking about global warming, greenhouse gas emissions, ice caps are melting, the world on the brink of self-destruction. This is a serious issue. The general consensus at the moment is that people are blaming the government for not doing enough in response to global warming. However, the reason why global warming does not stand a chance on the government's agenda lies in the fundamental concept of government itself. 108 years ago, when Federation occurred, the founders of the Australian legal system intended that government represent the views and values of the Australian population. In other words, our government is here to act on our needs and our values. Let's get back to the example with my mum. We are approaching a recession. People are losing their jobs. Pacific Brands 2 weeks ago fired 2,000 of its employees. That number is on the rise. This recession is affecting people's abilities to support their families. And in addition to this, bushfires have left masses of people homeless, businesses have been shut down. Quite frankly, the Australian population is in desperate need of some relief. Meanwhile, the Australian government has been presented with two major crises. You have A, the global environmental crisis, and then you have B, the global economic crisis. Being limited in its resources, the government has had to make a choice, and ultimately that choice comes down to the tree and the human. In the end, the government chose its $42 billion stimulus package. It chose to create 56,000 new jobs. It chose to rebuild houses and infrastructure that had been destroyed by the bushfires. It chose to react to the needs of the people over its obligation to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Was it the most effective choice? Perhaps not. It was the only choice. The existence of government is fundamentally to address the needs of the people it is governing. In the legal system that we have, humans and our vested interests are always going to have priority. Incomprehensible, impracticable, impossible, call it what you will, but no democratic government is ever going to put the tree above the human in its list of priorities. Why? Because despite there being some greenies and environmentalists among us, the majority of the Australian population does consist of people like my mum who would rather receive a $900 grant than a tax on their heating. And until people with my mum's mindset cease to exist, the government will continue to make environmentally stupid choices in favor of the consumerist human being. If you really care about the environment, you can save water, electricity, paper, and get other people to do the same. Whatever you do will make so much more of an impact on the environment than simply leaving our precious world in the hands of the government. Thank you.